Hey guys, so today we are going to be talking about crested geckos. These are our crested gecko tanks behind us. The light you see is actually a grow light, but we'll get more into that later. This is just going to be a crested gecko cage/care video.
And don't mind the bad quality that... Was that Alexa?
Echo just... Oh, no, it's Alexa.
Oh no.
She just talked to us.
Our Echo Dots, they always just come on at random times. It's weird.
It's fine.
But like I was saying, don't mind the horrible quality. We just got a new camera, so we're trying new things out, so just bear with us on this, okay?
Okay, so one thing about crested geckos is that they're becoming a really popular pet nowadays. Most of your pet stores, like if you have a Petco or a PetSmart around you, will probably be selling a crested gecko. I'm guessing at some point, if you go there, they will have crested geckos. Like I said, a lot of people are liking them as pets right now.
So for the people who are getting brand new crested geckos from the pet stores or other places, we're just doing this video to help out with the care with them.
Yeah.
One cool thing about crested geckos is where they got their name. So they have this special crest on the top of their head. It's kind of shaped like this. It's right on the back of their head, so when you're viewing them flat, you can see kind of a crest, so that's why they're called crested geckos. Yeah.
Okay, so another thing about crested geckos is their tails, just like pretty much every other species of gecko, falls off when they are scared. It's a defense mechanism, so in the wild, if something grabs them by their tail, it'll just come off and they'll get away most of the time. That's what it's for. Sad thing is that with crested geckos, their tail doesn't grow back. Your pet store might also sell leopard geckos. Those guys do have a tail that grows back when it comes off, but crested geckos are sadly the one of a few geckos that don't have a tail that grows back. Another thing with that is that if you have a crested gecko as a pet, it's actually really hard to have it for its whole life without the tail falling off, sadly, again. You can actually... Yeah, they scare themselves. You can just wake up one day, it had a tail yesterday, and when you wake up, it doesn't. And they can get scared just from looking at a reflection of themselves. It's pretty crazy. So if you have a crested gecko and its tail falls off, don't feel bad. They'll be completely fine, and it's completely normal.
Alright, so one thing that we've been dealing with is how to sex our crested geckos. One of the biggest reasons why you need to know how to do that is because males and females can live together, female and female can live together, but males cannot live together. So you can house crested geckos together, but you can't house two males together. So one way to sex them is to look for a bulge. They have a bulge underneath their tail, kind of where their butt region is.
Where their private parts are.
Their anus.
Their anus.
Okay, so that is one of the biggest ways to tell. You can't tell when they're babies. We have two babies, that's why we're not holding them right now. They're really jumpy. They'd probably just be all over the place.
Yeah,
but
you'll see them later in the video.
Yep.
Another thing with housing them together is you do not want to house them together if they're not the same size. So you can house them together in a big enough tank if it's two females, a male and a female, but they have to be around the same size, otherwise the big one could pick on the little one. And keep in mind, if you put a female and a male together, they might do it.
Then you have eggs, and eggs are fun.
Which isn't bad, but just expect that something might happen if they have the right conditions.
And you just want to make sure that if you have eggs, you have the proper conditions to take care of the eggs, otherwise it's just kind of a sad thing.
Yeah.
So it's just best to wait until they're both the same size so you can tell the sex of them to properly do this, house them. To properly house them. And that is why we have ours in separate tanks, because we do not want them to fight, and one is significantly larger than the other.
Okay, so how we set up our tanks. Later in this video, you will see us setting up these tanks. We're going to show you a decoration by decoration, pretty much. And one thing we do is we set them straight up vertical like this. We decided to do this, one, because we got the idea, which I'll talk about in a second, and two, because they are climbers. They don't like to be on the bottom of the tank. You won't really find them down there unless they're really hungry and there's no food. So they like having this tall tank because they will climb up to the top, and you also want to put their food and their water on the sides, like stuck to the sides with suction cups or something. And because they'll want to climb up and find their food and water up there. Water isn't always necessary. Of course you want to have it in there, but they'll mostly get their hydration from spraying the tanks down. So anyway, we got this, perfect. Anyway, we got this idea of vertical tanks from Taylor Dean on YouTube. You probably know who she is if you watch animal videos.
If you don't, you live under a rock.
Yeah. We just wanted to make sure to give the credit to her because we didn't want you guys to think we came up with that because we didn't.
Yeah.
We got that idea from her.
I wish we did come up with that.
Yeah, it's smart.
Then we'd probably
Good job,
have,
Taylor.
Then we'd probably have more views. Yeah. All right, so these tanks are both 10 gallon. When they get larger, you're gonna wanna upgrade to a 20 gallon. But the smaller sized geckos like smaller enclosures because they can become stressed out if they have too much room to climb around with. So we have them in these two 10 gallon tanks. We will be upgrading to 20 gallons once they are both larger. We got these tanks on the $1 a gallon sale at Petco. The lids, of course, cost the exact same amount, so it's kind of like a scheme that Petco. So it's 10 and then 10, kind of sucks, but you know, it's a good deal in my mind, I guess. I don't know. We also got the geckos, one from PetSmart and one from Petco. I know it's not best to get your animals from pet stores like that because you're feeding into
Animal farms.
Yeah, animal farms, whatever. I don't
Whatever
know.
it's called.
But that is the only place that we knew at the time where to get them from. But we will be getting most of our animals now from either online reputable breeders. Reputable breeders?
Trustable.
Reputable.
Reputable.
I don't know the word. You know what I mean. We now have a reptile store here in Lincoln that we will be getting most of our animals from.
Another fact about crested geckos is they live to be 15 years old on average in captivity. So if you're going to get a crested gecko, expect that you're going to have it for 15 years.
Yes.
Because that would suck if like 3 years go by and you decide you don't have time for it and you have to try and find it a trustable home. And that, I know, that would just suck and make me sad. So if you're gonna get a crested gecko, make sure you have 15 years to spare. If you'd ever go to a pet store and see a chameleon, they'd have like a dripping system. You have to keep the humidity exactly at a certain thing.
Misting it all the time.
Misting, heat, crazy. Chameleons are crazy. Those are definitely expert level care. Crested geckos, on the other hand, are slightly easier.
Beginner.
Yes, you do have to mist quite often, but that's easy, you know. You just mist it pretty much every time you think about it. You don't want to drown them in mist,
right.
But I mean, that's kind of hard. They like mist, they're tropical. Another thing, as you can see, we don't use heat lamps. We had heat lamps at the beginning when we first had them, and we saw that they were always hiding under leaves or even on the ground and just like always under things, not in the direct line of sight. And so we looked it up, and it turns out it's not actually that important for them to have lights. They don't need lights to live, obviously.
Kenai.
Shh. Shush. As long as your house or your home or wherever they are stays above 74-ish and doesn't get obviously too high, then you don't need a light. They'll get enough comfort with just the light from your room or something like that. This is a grow light because we actually have live plants in here, and we figured it doesn't emit heat, it lets the plants grow, and it's easy for them to have a night and day cycle.
All right, next let's get into their food. So crested geckos like a mix of they like a mix of fruits. So what we feed our crested geckos is a mix called Pangea Fruit Blend. It also has fly in it, as you can see here on the camera. So we feed them that probably every day. We refill their thing. It's just a powder mix. You just want to mix it with water. We'll show it, and we're filming a animal feeding video right now, so we'll show you how to do that, how to mix it up. But that's another video. And then you also want to provide them with probably like a dozen crickets every 2 weeks.
Depends on their size.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
Right now, we have small crested geckos, as you will see. We probably, well, now that they have a food that they really enjoy and they're actually going to eat, this fruit blend, now we are going to give them at most 2 crickets a week. And the reason behind that is because you don't want to feed them mainly crickets or mostly crickets or too many crickets at all, because if you feed them too many or their diet is only crickets, they will become obese. It's not good for them. It's really fattening. It's a good source of protein every once in a while, but it's very fattening and it will lower their lifespan.
Another great form of calcium you can get is by dusting those crickets that you give them.
You said we're going to do it twice a week? With calcium, yeah.
So however many you're going to end up doing for your crested gecko, just make sure you dust them with a calcium powder so they're able to get that from the crickets.
We obviously, like I said, have a little water dish in there. Or when you are putting water in there or spraying it with water, make sure you always use distilled, spring, just any sort of purified water that's not tap water.
So when it comes to the decorations that you want to add in your tank, you can always go with the live plant method. We just like to do that because we also have lots of plants. So with the decor, you want to keep it fairly simple at the bottom, probably not too much at the bottom because they're never down there. So you want to promote climbing. That's why we have our tanks up in this upright position. So if you keep your food and water at the bottom, most likely they're not going to want to go down there to find it because they live the most of their life in a tree.
Real quick, along with the decor, the type of bedding or the substrate you might have. Obviously, when you do this with your tanks, it's kind of hard to put like a layer of dirt or, eco-earth substrate.
Impossible.
Yeah. You can use paper towels. We have these little
Felt. I don't know.
It's like carpet. No, it's not.
Yeah, oh, it is. It's called animal carpet. Animal carpet.
You can get an animal carpet.
So we put that in the bottom of ours. It's easy cleanup. You can just wipe it off, wash it off, anything you want to do.
Yeah, and they don't even go down there, so who cares?
Yep, and it's green, so it makes it look prettier. You can do any sort of thing you'd like. Just kidding. There's only a few things you can do, but
you can do anything. Now we're going to show you what we do when we put it all together. So we're actually going to film us putting the tanks together, and we're going to do a little Crested Gecko filming too. Okay, so
thank you guys
now-
so much for
Shut
watching,
up.
and go ahead and like and subscribe for
Yeah.
more videos.
Stop.
Post your comments down
Stop.
below. Read our
Stop.
description. Follow our links. Like us on social media.
Like he said, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. It means so much to us. And we could always use some pointers if you guys have any ideas of what kind of
Please.
videos you want. And we could always use the subscription.
Please.
Like.
Share it with
And,
your friends.
Yeah, share it. Like, if you think this is helpful, if you have friends who have animals, share our videos. Let them know, because we want to be helpful to as many people as possible.
Yes, please.
Sound
I
good?
like to be polite, so I say please a lot. Goodbye.